And Divine Feminine says, it's simple. Thank you for watching here on YouTube Live at Blooming Light. If you're logging on live, if you're logging in on a later date, a later date and time, that's fine. Check out the homepage. Check out the well over 2,000 videos. Click on the links to other platforms if you're not familiar with me. Excuse me. So, Divine Feminines on a collective, if it res with these Divine Feminines, are saying to the world, and they're saying to anybody from their past, okay? And this is a wide range of things, okay? This is ranging from major big time betrayals, theft, anything and everything in between, but something to do with you are atonement, something to do with atoning for things, because you become the Divine Feminine, whoever is Divine Feminine that listens to this and that this is truly for, you have become very wise. So some of the tricks and antics that once upon a time would have worked will not work, okay? You have prioritized your health and your well-being and that of your children, which includes not allowing people who have already shown to you that they will harm you. They have already shown you that they'll hurt you. They've already shown you that they're willing to stab you in the back if the price is right. They have already shown you that they have some kind of an issue with you. So these collective of Divine Feminines have become wise in this respect versus maybe years ago, they would hear somebody and say, oh, okay, yeah, we can meet up, or they would kind of entertain that. They don't have the bandwidth for that any further because every time has costed them something greatly that they are still trying to bandage themselves up from. So they're no longer gonna go and buy into when people start coming around saying, hey, I would like to, let's meet up for, dinner, for lunch, for breakfast, for coffee. I really want to discuss this. I want to talk to you. I want to say this to you face to face. And, I want to offer, they ain't falling for that. Divine Feminine Collective says it's simple. See, where they're at with things now is with the technology that we have, the access to all of these. You can do everything nowadays from the freaking internet. Okay? Most bill pay is online, just digital, online, digital. And that's why the Divine Feminines are saying, well, some of them are going to create GoFundMe pages because they are trying to get monies, for legal proceedings that they may be, these suits that they're pursuing over time, as well as relocation to get away from some of these cult towns and communities and situations that their ops and the haters and so forth was trying to capitalize on. And they realized that, you know what, it's this, I got to get out of that. And so anyone that's of the collective's past and saying, oh, I owe you this, or I'm sorry, and I want to make it right. Feminines are like, okay, there's a such thing called email. There's a such thing called, certified mail. There's a such thing called, digital transfer. There's, that all of that can be handled. Anything that's needing to be said could be said there. Any monies needing to be given to us could be given there. Documents pertaining to, if there's something to do with homes and stuff like that, well, these individuals likewise. There's no need to talk. There's no need for a meeting up. It's like, okay, put this in writing, because see, the collective have been played with for far too long. Okay, people have been trying to buy time, gaslight them, and do things discreetly so that they can cover their asses just in case. So collective is like, no, we're not going to play that game, because you're not going to put me in a situation ever again where this is he said, she said, and it's something that can then be discussed as, oh, it was misconstrued and there was some kind of a miscommunication, right? Or I didn't say that and I didn't do that and I didn't admit to that and I don't know what you're talking about. So feminines are like, no, we're not giving nobody no room for that. If people are really sincere and they're really wanting to make something right, they're going to put their head and their ass on the line for it. Okay, because it's communicating that I don't have nothing. I'm not trying to do nothing slick. I'm not trying to play both sides. I'm not trying to hide, trick you. I'm not trying to do any of that. Hey, I know you don't want nothing to do with me, and I can't really blame you, but I do want to fix what I've done. And that's her message. She don't need to have a conversation. She's had every conversation she feels she needs to have. She knows that people look for any reason to play in her energy anyway. Any reason to get in her energy, even if it's over the phone. She already discovered what people have been doing with that. Okay? So that they can run their game, so that they can do their spells, so that they can, all of those things. And in some cases, the people that are not sincere, it is so that, so that they can plot and, finish the deal. Because there are some people, they're not giving up on whatever, this toxic thing was. They're trying to see if they could possibly seal the deal. If they can contact you and say, hey, I've really been thinking I would like to meet up for some coffee, and so they can be more toxic. And maybe this time the potency of the poison would just so happen to be strong enough. Or maybe this time, they'll go as far as to just, having somebody there that's willing to do something to you in the background and make it look like it was some type of an accident and you just showed up and y'all was at, woo-de-woo, and lo and behold, you was in the wrong place, wrong time, and you get shot on an accident because, but it wasn't no accident. It's because you agreed to meet them up somewhere. So, listen, and it may sound very cold, it may sound very clinical, but at this phase, that is where most of these divine feminines are. Likewise, so like when people try to call, let's say if somebody tried to call a divine feminine or send a text message to a divine feminine. Here's the thing, I've said this over the years. These women have went through so much fuckery with people. They do not have the bandwidth to play mommy to a 3-year-old via text message. So the feminines aren't going to deal with anybody who can't communicate, even in that respect, in the truth of who they are and the fullness of why they're contacting you. So let me give you a case in point. They're not finna fall for, oh, you're the kind of friend that, everybody, wishes for. Send some kind of random text message from a number unknown, not saying who they are, not addressing you, because the reason why they're doing that is because if it were to come out and they're using some kind of alternate number or phone, it won't be connected to them. They're still trying to conceal who they are while simultaneously trying to access you, trying to engage. So feminines have learned, like, she will respond, and if their response to her response isn't quick and isn't to the point, she will block them out immediately. Because for her, it doesn't matter if she's gifted. It doesn't matter if she's discerning. It doesn't matter if she's clear, whatever. For her, that's not the point. For her, the point is she's only communicating with adults that are ready to communicate as adults, like themselves and who they actually really are. And if they're not ready for that, then they're not ready to talk to her. If they are concerned about what if somebody finds out, I don't want nobody to know that I'm communicating with them. Then she feels like then they're not ready, because a part of the problem has been people willing to like her, love her, or support her in secret, but in public, or for all knowledge-based sake, they play stupid. They play like they don't know. They play the other side. So she's giving word to the wise, and she's putting her universal message out there to anybody, whether this is to do with her birth parents versus who she thought her birth parents were, whether this is to do with exes who did her dirty, whether this is to do with, businesses, anybody and everybody that she's ever come across. She's saying, oh, this is simple, because we're not going to have a conversation so you can fill me out. You're going to be accountable, or you're not going to be. And if there is something that you need to do or say, you're going to simply do that. You will not have an audience with me. You will not get no time with me. You're not going to get no space with me so that you can plot and scheme and wiggle and try to see how far you're going to either be accountable or you're not going to be accountable. It's real simple. You're going to apologize and mean it, or you're not. You're going to own up to what you did and mean it, or you're not. You're going to make atonement and put them dollar bills in that GoFundMe, or you're not. You're going to either send the deed, the title of a home and the information, or you're not. It's very, very simple. They're not allowing their energy to be manipulated by people this way any further. Especially, these are people who was willing to steal from them to begin with. People who was already willing to, like I said earlier, they were already willing to harm them. So they're not going to coffee with you there. They're no nigga, no bitch. We don't want coffee, snacks. We don't want nothing, tater chips, tacos. We don't want a meeting with you. You don't meet with the killer. You do not meet with a fucking killer. So I'm not having a meeting with your whore ass. You better be glad you even still standing. Now, if you have something that you want to make right, then you do it. You will click on the link and go ahead and deposit. And if you have something to say, this is everybody. This is family. She is not going for this shit. People, wanting to reach out, how you doing? And we miss you. And, you remember back when this actually happened. This is another thing that got some of these feminists like, oh, hell no. Hell no. Because people rather pussyfoot and dance around everything they can. They'd rather bring up shit from the divine feminine's teenage years and her early young adult years than to own up to the fact that they are fucking criminal. To own up to the fact that they did something out of vengeance that surpassed any bullshit that they trying to spit at you. So, reaching out with well, remember back when, we was teenagers and you didn't want me, like anything to justify major betrayal. Because remember then, and you owed me $100 and you never paid it back, or you owed me $1,000. Remember, they're not going to talk about everything that was being done to you to hurt and sabotage your life. Fuck you and your kid or your health and your well-being. They're going to be talking about that, again, in order to justify their theft. Because, see, nobody don't owe us anything. The collective of the divine feminines know in terms of no one owes us anything that is not ours. You see that? You see the way I said it? So case in point, if someone does not want to invest, well, that's a valid choice. It may not be fair and right, but people have a right to say within themselves, I no longer want to invest because whatever, I don't support, I don't want to invest. That's fine. Nobody owes anybody that per se. But when people then step in to take it beyond them simply not wanting to invest, to I'm going to steal from you because you owe me $500 from back in the day when you didn't have nothing. So I'm going to fraudulently sign a document for a home because of that. I am going to take this portion of an inheritance that was for you or financial because of that. Those two things are not the same. Withholding your own personal support versus taking something that belongs to somebody is not the same thing. I'm going to give another example. Let's say I have some properties or I have a certain amount of money. And let's say that I have a friend or a relative or whoever that, I gave something to 2 years ago. And for whatever reason, they were never able to get it back to me and I let it go. And as a result, I decide, follow me, because I'm a proof point. I decide that, okay, well, I won't be lending or investing in this person any further because they've shown me that they can't pay me back for whatever reason. And I don't want to put myself in any kind of a further hole. So from henceforward, I will not be, if ever they need something, I will not be lending them anything. I will not be investing. And that's not out of cruelty. That's just out of, if I don't have it to sacrifice and I know that they're not going to be able to give it back, then I'm not going to do it. That's a very healthy, there's nothing wrong. Nobody could really argue that. Now, we can call into question because, other variables that may be involved, but the point that I'm making is they still have a right, because that's just a healthy assessment. This person have already shown that they can't, they may or may not be able to. So I'm not going to loan. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Okay? Perfectly sound and healthy thinking. Okay? Not so much if the train of thought is, again, when people feel entitled to, let's say I'm the same person and this friend or this family member was not able to, pay something back and, over the years. And then let's say I get information, okay, and let's say we go our separate ways or whatever, and I get some kind of information about an inheritance, or somebody left a house to this person, or somebody a house to their kid, or somebody left a financial lump sum of something to them or their kid. Now, I get information and knowledge and wind of it. Me deciding to not disclose that is out of bounds. Me deciding that I'm going to keep that secret and I'm going to keep it for myself and my children because I feel like I should have it because they never paid me back the $1,000 I lent them. Those are not the same. If I were to do it in that sense, that's not perfectly logical. That's entitlement and theft and vengeance for the person not paying me back the $1,000 that they owed me back in whenever the fuck. Theft and breaking the law is vastly different from just simply deciding to withhold one's own resources and no longer invest in any said person that they don't want to invest in. Federal offense if there was mail coming to my location because that person at some point stayed there and I decide that because when we were 15, they didn't want their boyfriend to buy me a 69-cent burrito. And I decide that I'm going to withhold their child's, whatever check that could have come to their child or important documentation pertaining to their child or them. I decide because they didn't want to buy me no 69-cent burrito back in 1990, whatever. I am going to agree. I am going to agree to the withholding of that. Again, not the same. And the divine feminines know this full well, but this is also why the divine feminines smirk at the fake piousness of these very same people. Because oftentimes these are people who are confessing to a religious bent. It's all throughout their entire social media. It's possibly all over their house, all over their cars. They got the biggest gold crosses or silver crosses you can find at the swap meet. Yet, they conduct in those ways. And instead of coming at the collective with truths, people keep coming they're coming with trying to drug up the past in terms of not the relevant past that's pertaining to the foul violations. They keep wanting to drug up the past that has absolutely nothing to do with the illegal and foul behavior, in order to deflect and to try to create this energy of everybody is hurting and you did me. No, we're gonna make this crystal clear. No. Everybody is starting to hurt because they're starting to get some retribution that's deserving. No, it ain't all equal. Everyone is not hurting to the same magnitude because, baby, everybody wasn't sacrificed or targeted. Everybody did not have their life intruded upon and their children's life intruded upon. So this is why divine feminines have no tolerance at this point to hear nothing from nobody. There's not going to be no comparison. They're not going to go down that. They're like, no, we're not doing this. I'm not going to allow you to deflect and take me back to 1990 something with our old dusty asses. We ain't doing that. To deflect from the fact that this is foul. I've said this constantly. Not all lies are created equal. Not all theft is created equal. And that's the truth. People will do anything to pussyfoot around own your shit. Atonement. What did you do? Did you kidnap somebody, a little girl, and then treat them like fucking Cinderella? What did you do? Atonement. Proper atonement. So feminines are going to make it clear and make it simple. So she knows that if anybody want to do right, they can. She's not holding hands. If people don't know how to communicate and they're scared, she's not holding hands. If people can't come to her and text her like an adult, naming who they are, getting to the point, she's not holding their hands. She's out. She can be clairvoyant and she can know. It ain't gonna matter. Her point is, I only deal with adults. I'm not going to pussyfoot with you. And I'm not going to help you be sneaky. Because if that's where you still are, you ain't ready for me anyway. You're not ready for me, and you're not ready for justice. Because justice is meaning that you're going to have to make atonement, which means you might get in trouble. Because it depends on how far in you are on some shit. So you have to be willing to put your head on a line for your own conduct. And if you're not, then you don't deserve her audience. She has no desire to have any kind of conversation. If she is approached, this is going to be, she's sharp. I'm telling you what's going to happen is she's sharp. She's going to be like, She's going to give you a test, and when you fail, she's going to block you. She's going to give you one test, motherfucker. It's going to be one. She's, again, that's high school. That's preschool. Ring around the road. You know what I'm saying? We ain't doing that. Is you grown, nigga, bitch, or not? We're not doing that. They deal with too much. They got weirdos constantly coming at them. They should not have to be deciphering in communication with grown-ass dusties. It shouldn't matter how gifted they are. They should be able to deal with an adult. Texting somebody from a random number, this is not going to go well, I'm telling you. Oh, you're the kind of friend that, you know, everybody wished for. I know. She's going to say, I know. Thank you. She's going to say, I know. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. If only I had the same return. She's hidden below the belt. She knows what she's doing. And then she gonna put a smooth, she gonna do something smooth and gonna be like, I perceive it. She gonna be like, I perceive it's a possibility. You might be a male, but who are you? What is your name? Boom, you got one shot. She cold with it. She cold with that shit. Because again, people put in their feelers, you know, their fish hooks out there. Let me see if they'll talk to me. What are you, 12? She don't have time for it. This is even applying to famous people. For feminists, she don't care at this point, honey. This is applying to all of it. You famous, nigga, you rich, and like she don't care. Like, nah, you aren't ready for me. I have no space for cowards. You're not ready. If people are still worrying about their little wife, what their wife will think, what they, you know, they other children, and, you know, what this one, that, look, with all due respect, very well, then you're not ready. You're not ready to make atonement. Or let's say somebody say, well, Brandy, what if somebody want to keep it anonymous? Very well. Then we will be providing the GoFundMe link that you can do the good old deposit. Because it ain't, we not finna do no anonymous commune. You don't get my audience. You don't get my personal, let me rephrase that. You don't get my personal audience without reveal. You don't get to have the privilege and the knowledge of knowing that you're dealing with me, and I don't have the privilege and the knowledge, the factual, physical of who the fuck I'm dealing with. It's not gonna work like that. So people that have something to say, they're gonna really have to have purchased a nice, hefty set of balls in order to be able to do it themselves, as themselves. They can't be scared of, you know, oh, the child support, and, you know, scared of 1,000 things. You're not ready. They wanting their conscience clear. See, because what is some of this stuff is people trying to find slick ways to maybe kind of possibly little bit clear what's riding them. Okay, because some stuff is riding motherfuckers out here in this universe. It's gonna ride them until they die too. So they're figuring, okay, maybe if I could, like, how can I do this and still keep it a secret and still cover my ass and still at the same time be sincere and still get to the person? No, you haven't provided. See, this is where you're wrong. You miscalculated. Wrong. Because you have not provided justice to the person. Justice to the person is only going to come with reveal of you, from you. So this sneaky way of going, well, I can say I'm sorry. I had people do this on my platforms for the last however long. I had some randos come in and do that, and I'm like, I hope they know that that's not gonna cut it. And it wasn't even sincere to, you know, that was the kicker about that. It was bullshit. But it was like, I hope they know that coming on my social media and making a comment like, I'm sorry. No, that's not, no. If you done violated me, you gonna have to face me, nigga, bitch. Because that's a part of the karmic justice, is making proper atonement. So you don't get to slide in no DMs and some fake ass profile and make some comment under some fake ass name, and you know what I'm saying, to technically say that. No. especially if people publicly humiliated the collective. If people then spent their years publicly humiliating the divine feminines, their only out is public apology. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There might be some buts, purchase buts. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Not no secret letter, no secret. The betrayal wasn't secret. The humiliation rituals wasn't secret. The blatant disrespect wasn't secret. That was on blast. That was entertainment value. Shit, nigga. That was entertainment value for a bucket of chicken heads. So the apologies and the atonement is going to have to be public. Because that's taking ownership, and it leaves no room for games, huh? It leaves absolutely no room for people to play the fence and play sides and triangulate and go over here to this hole over here and this one and say, you know, I'm only doing this because somebody had paid me to do this, and then go over here, you know, I'm only, you know, yeah. So anyone who ever hears this video on behalf of Divine Feminines, and if you come on and you're somebody at some point, and you're somebody that you know you have wronged her, there is your instructions. Her bandwidth is now simply pertaining to her and her children, their health, their well-being, and their stability, and getting justice. Because she gonna make fucking justice, honey. One way or the other. She don't have no bandwidth for coddling and hand-holding grown dusties that acts, they stomp around in the streets acting big and bad all day, every day. They should fucking know how to approach her like a woman and like a man, then. They should know how to go, because they act super, they so smart, they crooked, and they know how to fraud. And okay, so they should know how to, they should know how to properly deposit some dollars without her holding their hand. They know what the fuck they did. She not gonna be meeting up with none of these people. She has no reason to trust any of these people. Zero. They were, listen, they were willing to throw her and her children under the bus. They looked at her and her children like dispensable. So she ain't going to have no coffee. They looked at her and her children like, you know what I'm saying, not worthy and deserving of what's actually theirs, and decided to make a plot and plan to do away with them altogether. No, they're not interested in having a discussion nor coffee. Divine feminines aren't mean. They're just using the energy that they're gathering for them and their children. All these parasitical energies that have been draining them and their kids. Benefiting off of their attention, benefiting off of their presence, benefiting. They are and no longer. So if you ain't coming with sincere apologies via a certified letter or email, then yeah, no, 'cause she's not talking to you. So you can pretend like that didn't happen and still try to make her look crazy. She's going to provide information that anybody will be able to have access to. Now, even phone numbers, because here's the thing about that. What I find funny about phone numbers, y'all know how people, will call phones and then they don't say no voicemail? Because because everybody be like, I don't even check my voicemail. Why? Well, they can just text, but what if they're not calling from a cell phone? So feminine is leaving no room for error. People can leave a voicemail because, again, if you're not shady, you're not worrying about that, are you? You're not worrying about you left a message and this could be traced and somebody can hear that you left a message. You're not worried about that because you're trying to make atonement. You're trying to make things right, no matter the cost. So people will have viable means to own up to their shit via email, via certified mail, via voicemail, via using their lawyers, informing in these emails, voicemails, that the lawyer so-and-so, whatever the fuck, will be, there's ways of doing that. These smarty pants people all of a sudden play like they're stupid, but they were intelligent enough to pull off their shenanigans. They'll be able to do that, as well as they can deposit in PayPal or GoFundMe. It's like, you know what you did. And you can put your note, because on some of these apps they give you space for a note, bitch. This I'm serious. Because again, I know I'm repeating it over and over, but look, when it comes down to this, when we are really, truly, they teach you this in Alcoholics Anonymous. Those of you who have ever went through a program like that, or even those of you who may have went through Al-Anon. When you go through these, there's the 12 steps. I forget which step it is, but there is one of them. It's about atonement. An amends. They called it amends. And it ain't just going to falling on the floor and crying, talking about God forgive me. It's, the amends is you sit with it, you own it, you feel it, you acknowledge it, you even sit with what you've caused, and then with your knees shaking and however nervous you are, and because you don't know what kind of reaction or response you're going to get, you then at least attempt to. Now, if the person's dead or if there's no portal for you to do that, that's one thing. But you then attempt to, if it's at all possible, to get to that person in some way and be sincere about that and own it. And if there's nothing you can do to give anything back, you still own your shit. If you don't have the money, if you don't have, you know, whatever it is, you still own that it was done. And you take whatever comes with that. You don't expect, it's not attached that they're gonna hug you and you guys become best friends. It's no attachment to that, because it's not about if they receive, it's about, were you sincere and did you provide? It's not about if you can give them some hush money. That's a difference. There's a difference between making proper atonement and a bribe and hush money. Those are two different things. Hush money is, you know, I'm not sorry for what I did. If history, you know, will repeat, I would do it again. I am only providing this because as a classic true to life sociopath, I am worried about my reputation and image and what this could do to my career. I am worried about what others will think of me if this is public. So I'm not really concerned about you. I'm wanting to buy you off. Yeah, because your reputation got, you know, dragged through the mud and you got perceived in all sorts of shitty ways wrongly. And I'm not worried about that. I am worried about mine that I actually deserve. So you were did dirty and shitty and got the shit end of the stick and was looked at and perceived a certain way because of our shitty actions. And I am worried about me being able to keep my reputation, not you being cleared of what you wrongly were being perceived as. So if I can just offer you a certain amount of money, will you be cool with, you know, not saying nothing and letting people think that you crazy and shit? Sorry, feminist says no. I want full justice. Because that's how you break cycles. You don't break cycles by appeasing the abusers and the toxicity that has needed to be eradicated out of families. That's how you keep it going. And this is why that mindset get deeply, deeply woven and engraved into the generations to come and the next, because we have managed to reinforce that you can be a trash bag. And all you need to do is maybe do a couple of spells. And if you have access to some money, is buy off the right people. So once again, we just reinforce the very things that we claim we're generational curse breaking. Are we breaking generational curses? No, you're not. You are the curse. You are not. Nope, 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 nope. It's the exposure. Just like in physical and medical, what brings the healing is the exposure, that you got to go and you got to open up, you know, depending on what kind of shit it is. You can't just be letting it sit there. It's going to get all kind of shit on it. Talking about, let's just put a Band-Aid on it, bitch. Put a Band-Aid. Let's just cover it up, throw some dirt on it. We'll be all right. And this shit oozing, shit green, shit yellow, shit starting to fly around it. It's swelling and motherfucker getting a fever, bitch. Now the toe is turning purple. And now it's like, why? Because you didn't want to expose it. You didn't want to cut it open. You didn't want to give an x-ray and go deeper. You didn't want to pull out the cancer. You didn't want to pull out the gangrene. You didn't want to pull out the pestering pus that is in which the toxic behavior. You didn't want to bring it to light. You wanted to put a Band-Aid. Oh, don't tell anybody we tried to kill you. We're sorry. Let's just let bygones. Let's just let bygones be bygones. We were tripping. Sorry we took your kids' whole life, their whole childhood from them. Because we retarded. We're sorry. We graped and raped y'all energetically every day. Let's be friends. Let's let bygones be bygones. Let's go. Oh, let's just go to church. It's gonna be all good. We're gonna get delivered together. Yes, we are. No. Because these are serious infractions that needs to be dealt with in a serious way. Not all arguments, not all mishaps, not all misunderstandings are created equal. Not all betrayal. And once again, abuse and betrayal are different as well. I heard somebody talk about that. And that needs to be highlighted, because having an experience of betrayal, depending on the nature of it, you can get cheated on. Let's say somebody cheats on you, and that's a form of a betrayal, right? Now, if they're repetitive and if it's intentional, it's abuse. You see that? A circumstantial slip, something not premeditated, immaturity. It was, okay. That was a betrayal. But if this is intended to wound you and to take advantage of you, and repetitively doing this to psychologically, mentally, emotionally, physically, sexually, negatively impact you, that's called abuse. And you don't deal with abuse with no penny any ass, preschool ass, fake ass, surface ass shit. Because the impact surpasses the moment, what's taken from the abusee. The effects on their mind, body, and soul so you don't handle it the same way you handle, they stole your favorite Guess perfume. They're not the same. Intention, motive, premeditation, all that is a factor. And since the Divine Feminines have figured out, she's just been dealing with abusers. No matter how disguised they have managed to be to the masses. Abusers of magic. Yes, you can abuse everything. Abusers of authority. She knows that's what she's dealt with. Abusers. So she won't have it any other way because of this. She will create justice one way or the other. And for those who, you know, calling themselves saying they regret, well, they're either going to make full atonement or they're not. But she will not accept nothing less. And she have no interest in reuniting. Yep, that's how you break a cycle. Because some of the divine feminines come from history of this kind of shit that's been tolerated in the name of family and in the name of having a nigga or having a bitch. And has been normalized. And they now realize that it is not loving to yourself. We can't just be all this. You're supposed to be loving, loving, loving to others, but you're not loving to yourself because you're constantly putting yourself in harm's way every time you go back to an abuser. You're taking another chip at your soul. And possibly more harm done to you, more harm done to your children. More energy stolen so that they can go give it to some karmic trash bag. Because that's what the fuck some of these motherfuckers is out here doing. They fucking divine feminine's energy and then going to put it in a deposit in a karmic whore. And we don't appreciate that. We're trying to get close to her, to study her, to learn from her so they can go and groom some karmic wench to be her. Good luck with that. It will never fucking happen. Okay. She don't appreciate that. Her energy is sacred to her. These motherfuckers should be able to get the shit. That's what pisses her off about it. Like, nah, you should get the shit from the hoe that you wet, nigga. You should be able to get the shit from the hoe you wet. You should be able. Then it's like, nah, man, nah. Life is about choices. You should be able to get the beautiful energy. Don't be coming over here now. Leave the feminines dried up, dried up for the garbage can, sucking her out dry, and then depositing to go build a life with some Barbie doll / wannabe divine feminine. Some skipper and shit. No, get it there. It's simple. So she ain't playing with her energy now. She ain't playing, motherfucker. She ain't playing. This is too how she's bringing justice. This is honor. She's bringing it. It's starting with her. It is honor. It's honor to her, to herself, and her children. She's setting the precedence. We don't do that. We don't. We're not beggars. We're not flunkies. We do not let people dehumanize us and be inhumane to us and then still hang with them and talk to them and go to the front, oh yeah, and the barbacoa. We don't do none of that. We say, fuck you. And kiss my black ass. And we go on and we put that love onto ourselves. Understanding that we're good folk. And if that ain't what motherfuckers coming with, they better run. If they're smart, they'll run. But this plan in our energy is costing people lives. Motherfuckers gonna start dropping like flies. Because we're not playing. People coming in, these, locations, these apartments and all that stuff coming to spells. They gonna wish they didn't. Trust me. They gonna wish they didn't. Because again, it's this intrusion. It's that same entitlement, which is why the collective of feminists will not be dealing with folks as it is. This entitlement. I'm entitled to you. You're entitled to die. That's what you just signed up for. I'm entitled to you. Yeah, you're entitled to get sick and dry up. I'm entitled to you. Okay, you're entitled to go impotent. I'm entitled to you and your space. Okay, and your shit gonna get fucked up. The audacity. See, that's where feminists are on. It's like, no. We take our hits, we take our L's, we don't care. But continuing to try is gonna cause people. Trying to get them in a bad mood, trying to keep them there is going to destroy. Just watch. It's already begun. It's already starting. Entitlement. We want your creativity. Okay. Okay. Well, you'll see what you're signing up for. We want to passively siphon. Very well. Somebody's going to die. Something's going to happen. We don't like you, but we want you to be here so we can torture you. Very well. You just fucked your life. And to anybody who gets courage and balls, well, you know what to do. But we're not reuniting with, this type of energy. We're not too hard. It's not like that. We make mistakes. We're not talking about small time shit. But this kind of shit, this intentional brutality and cruelty, our heads should be checked if we did. That's all I'm going to say about that. Our heads should be the ones getting examined if we did. Because what else? Osiris, what you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Let me see. What are you doing? Yes. Okay. I'm just saying, like, if you think about it, if we think about it, okay, somebody like play with the thought. Okay, they tried to kill you, bitch. They was doing spell work. They was conjuring entities, nigga, and they was sprinkling pepper and seasoning and red stuff and and just putting shit in your food, bitch, and he was trying to rig your vehicles and all that. And so, and you want to reunite with them. Why? They hurt your kid. They obviously are mentally ill. It's obviously they mentally ill in a toxic way that put people in harm's way. Not the kind of mental illness that 90% of population actually have. Whether that's anxiety, you know, little PTSD, you know, little seasonal depression. No, not the kind of shit, because that stuff don't be taking people into these crazy ways of living towards other people. It's obviously they're mentally ill because they're willing to kill innocent life for an escalade. They mentally ill. They didn't care. They objectified you. They objectified your child. And you want to go have coffee? They wanted your life as a playground. They wanted to play God and play science project and build a witch. Own your life. For entertainment value. They're mentally ill. These are not people that you need to be in camaraderie with. They've already proven that they ain't really for you like that. Because if ever they really were, they wouldn't have been willing to do none of that. Not for no price and not for nobody. And that's how, you know, divine feminists don't get offered those types of things, because energy is red. People know that they don't go for it. That's why nobody approaches them with that kind of shit. Because feminists, she liable to cuss somebody out. Or her eyes are liable to light up in some kind of way as she peers through their fucking brain. You see squiggly lines on their fucking head. Like, don't get the fuck out of here with that shit. Don't nobody want shit that bad around these here parts. I'm a mother. I am not gonna take no deal to be sitting up there stalking some single mama somewhere on some bogus bullshit. And then turn around and pray, God, please protect me. Protect me and my children. While I stalk this lady and hers, please keep us healthy and safe while we disrupt this lady and her kid. And please bless us, because we too blessed to be stressed. Blessed, blessed, blessed. We're blessed in the city. We're blessed in the field. We're blessed when we come and when we go. We cast. Yeah, right. A bunch of bullshit. They should be stressed, stressed, stressed. We're stressed in the city. They're stressed in the field. They're stressed when they come and when they go. 'Cause they causing chaos and toxicity. They're the devil incarnate. They are cursed, 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 cursed. Fucking blessed. Okay. Bless us. Or bless this home. No, it's cursed. It's the home is cursed. Because you're trying to curse someone else's. You put a curse on your ass. That's what you did. That's what you signed up for. someone told me the other day, and I'm done. Somebody told me the other day, they shared with me that someone like myself had an autistic son. And, you know, my son is considered high function. You know, autism, there's a spectrum and a range. And some of the autistic kids, they have multiple diagnoses. Like my son, he has multiple diagnoses. And he was diagnosed at 3. And, you know, as somebody, I was a young mama. I was a teenage mother. Okay, I had my son and married my high school sweetheart. That's how he came to be. But, so I get those earlier years. I can reflect on my earlier years, but in my 20s, I think I had hit my 20s is where something snapped and changed in me, and I wanted to educate myself about his condition. And then I became super hyper, like wanting to provide a different kind of environment for him. That's something that I developed over time. And your focus change, and the older you get, you know, you step into that and you become more concerned with providing an environment healthy for your kid, which involves your conduct. And when this person told me that, I said, I said, well, you know, with what you're saying, you would think. But see, this, once again, it lets you know where people are. Folks are so consumed and obsessed with trying to get to these divine feminines and their children. They're so obsessed with whatever deals they're making with these devils and whatever bullshit that they're on. They don't even fucking care if they're disrupting their own home. Yeah, I said it because it's the truth. If my focus is so consumed with, you know, I'm somewhere living in some apartment somewhere above somebody, and I'm so consumed, I don't like the hoe of a nigga, you know, downstairs bitch, and whoop, and, you know, somebody offered me, you know, a free car, bitch, or some fucking whatever to disrupt them, or whatever I'm on. But consumed by my envy, my jealousy, my greed. And I got a kid. Let's say I got a little kid, or more than one. Just fuck it. Let's say I got children, school-age children. And I call myself a good mama or a good father. And my kids is in the same location as myself. So I'm on some crack cocaine, sitting around, running around here, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. See, this is what starts to reveal to collective, like where people really are and who people really are. Not what they look like, what kind of money they got, what kind of car they driving, who's singing their praises, none of that. They can have all that and still be something off. Representing a good parent is not just getting them the kicks and the toys and all of those things. Is you want a peaceful home. And in creating a peaceful home for yourself, you sure ain't gonna be doing no damn acrobatics at no fucking 1 o'clock in the morning. You're not taking no deals to be the noise maker. And as a parent, when you're a parent of special needs, most of the time you become more sensitive to these types of populations. This is how you know. This is where you learn that you're dealing with trash. This is where you learn that you're dealing with devils, baby. Because only people with either some kind of mental illness or some entities attached to them is on that kind of shit. Ain't nobody no mama and, you know, talking about I'm a godly mother and a godly father and sitting up here talking all that jazz on that bullshit. Stalking people, somebody mama. Stalking people, disrupting shit, and I'm a godly mama. I'm a godly woman. I'm a godly man. I'm a man of valor. You ain't shit. But on some mental illness and some greed and some juvenile petty vengefulness that don't got shit to do with the actual person. So feminines are okay with, you know, people feeling some kind of way, and they are stone faced. They do move a certain way. You damn straight. You damn straight. Because they know what they're dealing with now. They know weird ass witches is coming here doing rituals and shit, they dumb ass outside. We know. And going to their friend's house and practitioners all day, every day, looking for, spending all their little county check, all their little fucking, you know what I'm saying, whoop, all their little child support check, all their little food stamp, spending all their little shit. Or they niggas drug slanging money, whatever the fuck, spending. That could have been Pookie's Pampers. An extra pair of shoes for Shaquan. Shit, whoop. That could have been some gas for the gas tank. That could have been $10, $15, $20 toward the electric bill, bitch. That could have been something towards some self-love shit. How about that? I'll go there. Some self-love. What can I do to heal myself and build up my self-esteem and self-worth and value so that I don't feel like I have to go about getting vengeance on bitches and niggas because of my rejection wounds? What kind of self-love something could I do? Shit, bitch, go take myself. This could have been me a massage. I could have went somewhere, got me a massage, bitch. And maybe I would feel better, huh? Maybe that would have worked wonders for my energy. Maybe I wouldn't feel so how I feel and pushing me to want to antagonize people. Maybe I could have used it for that. But that's not, see, but that ain't how these people are thinking. They're not thinking like that. All they're thinking about is whatever deals the devils have made with them, what they're going to get for doing it, as well as the pleasure of annoying somebody that they don't like. That's all they're worried about. So the world, y'all gonna have to excuse feminines while they navigate these sharky, snaky, swarmy waters in towns and cities and locations that they're in. Okay? because they don't have the bandwidth to give benefits of the doubt anymore. Yesterday, I was walking down the street, and because of the fact I'm a targeted individual and I know that I'm being stalked and stuff like that now, I can't even extend a benefit of doubt when somebody might be trying to be nice. I don't know if that person was one of the stalkers or not, but because of what I've gone through, I won't, excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm burping. I won't even entertain, I won't even talk. I'll like just keep stone face most cases. Because I know now that it's just been nothing but a bunch of people playing in my face. It ain't that I'm stuck up. Furthest thing from that. But my life and my well-being means more to me than being polite to people who possibly are an enemy. Because people will sit up there and say hi to you and smile at you and be the same ones that's plotting. That's why I've become what I've become. While I'm here anyway, because I am getting out of this state. But not before I put charges, though. I'm doing that first, Nick, to make it stick. So if they dumbass try to follow. My son deserves a healthy environment. So if you are a supporter of mine, once I create the GoFundMe, I may include it as a link on the homepage at YouTube and on my TikTok and the other platforms if it allows me, okay? So please, I'm gonna be sharing more stories about our experience and what we're going through. I'll be doing more segments about all of that, the healing journey. I'll be doing more segments about my actual story. I'll be sharing more live footage about the day in the life so that you all can actually see and hear what I actually experience. I will be investing in more cameras and stuff. So, you know, body camera for my son, body camera for myself, because it's really gotten that far. It's gotten that out of hand. So I'll be doing that and sharing these live footages so that you all can see the story and not just hear me tell you it and then you have the powers that be and the gaslighters out there trying to say differently. And you know, it's unfortunate, but when this is what you're dealing with, as you're trying to navigate out of it, as you're trying to file sub rosa, RICO, you know, they don't care about feelings. They're not moved by none of that. You gotta have dates, you gotta have times, you gotta have actual events. So wearing body cameras and recordings of the day in the life is gonna be something that helps with that. And as I share that with y'all, because I want the world to see it. If I'm going to be harassed and my son is going to be harassed and targeted to this magnitude every fucking day, and people sitting out in parking lots and in front of his apartment and doing all sorts of weird shit, doing spells and energy and all being weird, then I want the world to see it. When people don't want to believe that, you know, people have been making things unnecessarily difficult, this is why I'm going to start wearing that as a standard. Because everything can't be difficult. At some point, you recognize that there is an anomaly, there's a pattern. affecting your health, trying to make you tired, trying to make you sleepy, sending all that. Yeah. And then if y'all want to support, the GoFundMe is going to be supporting Darrell and me to relocate, supporting, travel expenses, movers, all of those things. Our identity has been compromised. So, you gotta have a certain, in America, you gotta have a certain credit. You have a certain, you see what I'm saying? And I'm trying to be honest, I want to have a disconnection from everything to do with Texas, because I don't want them in nothing. So it's the GoFundMe to get us a debt-free home. Because I don't want to have to go through, well, we need your rental history and we need to no, because I don't want none of these motherfuckers accessing my shit and knowing and connecting to anything to do with as we leave Texas. Because they have all showed their hand. They have all shown what they really are and what they've been doing.